Okay. No fancy intro or anything. This is cut right to it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Collector's Vault or the Couch Vault, whatever. My name is Mike. Today, I want to talk about something that kind of came up a little bit recently, and it's about something that I don't talk about very often. That is Magic the Gathering. I think I mentioned plenty of times, like some of the trends in Magic and how well the cards are doing, just kind of like as a whole. But I don't really go into the specifics. Magic is just not something that I really like. I respect the card game. I think it has a lot of history. It's obviously one of the first, if not like the first, like truly like competitive trading card game where you want to get cards of higher rarities from packs. The whole like variance thing about gambling with trading card packs and booster packs, and you summon creatures to like attack your opponent, like all that fun stuff. So I have a lot of respect for the game, and they've done a lot of crazy things over the years. And most recently, over the last 5 years, I think it was like around 2020 when they started doing this, they started doing collaborations with other big IPs. Some examples of this are they did, I think it's called their Universes Beyond. And they've done Godzilla, they've done Doctor Who, they've done, just most recently, they've done Marvel, they have Lord of the Rings, the Fallout series, all these crazy IPs that kind of like have crossed over to Magic, or Magic, or Wizards of the Coast. I'm not sure what kind of deal or back alley handshake they make with these people to allow them to use their IP. I mean, probably how much money was spent for that, and they then they take those characters and turn them into Magic cards, and it's actually kind of cool. I think it's really neat seeing when they have like actual Godzilla, like actually Godzilla, not like a card that looks like Godzilla, but no, it's Godzilla, it's Mothra, it's all the Godzilla, the kaiju monsters. For Lord of the Rings, there was an Aragorn card, a Gollum, I believe, a Frodo. There was an actual One Ring, like they did. Magic does serialized cards, and they actually had a one of one, the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, in a pack somewhere, and it became like a super Willy Wonka and like gold ticket hunt. You know, everyone trying to get this one card, and holy crap, I think Post Malone owns it right now. Granted, a PSA 10 or something. But yeah, pretty cool. So the point is, they've done a lot of crazy crossovers, these like collaborations, and as much as I like them, I don't think I'm ever going to pick them up. I just kind of like to appreciate them from afar. It's just how I am. So I've heard before the Marvel set came out that they were going to release a Marvel set and then a Final Fantasy set. Now, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy fan. Like, I could not tell you any characters outside of like maybe Final Fantasy VII. That's the one game that I have the most familiarity with and the most nostalgia for. So I just thought, okay, well, if it's going to be like just Final Fantasy VII, that's going to be kind of crazy, and they could definitely do it because that game is so deep. But it seems like they're going to be doing all Final Fantasy. All Final Fantasy characters in games are going to be somehow incorporated into this new set. And when I heard that, I just felt that this is probably one of the greatest things that Magic or Wizards of the Coast has ever done. Like they've been doing these crossover sets, but Final Fantasy of all things, I think is going to be pretty big. Like Lord of the Rings, I think like the Fallout set was huge. The Lord of the Rings, I think, was their most popular of all these crossover sets. I think there was Doctor Who. I think there was even an Assassin's Creed one. Like you can look it up. There's all kind of different crossovers, and now that they're doing Final Fantasy, like I don't think people realize how insanely popular this is going to be, in my personal opinion. Just because, again, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy guy. It's not like I lost my mind and had like one of those like that emoji with the explosion out of my head. I wasn't like wow, but I definitely thought of all the crossovers that they can do, Final Fantasy might be one of their biggest. Marvel was pretty huge, and so was Lord of the Rings. Again, Lord of the Rings was like insanely popular. All of their collector boxes are insanely overpriced right now. I mean, but for good reason. That's my opinion. Marvel, not sure how those sets are doing, but I'm sure they're going to be on all-time highs soon enough. Again, if you want the actual prices of those things, please don't follow my channel for that kind of stuff. Go to an actual Magic channel. But if you want to just talk about the cool stuff, I'll talk about it here. So, Final Fantasy. I mean, I think that's going to be bigger than like anything, like bigger than Marvel, bigger than Lord of the Rings, bigger than like Fallout, because Final Fantasy is a video game series, but obviously it's grown so much bigger than that. Like Squaresoft, at the time Squaresoft, like Square Enix now, this is probably showing my age, but it's the Square Enix. Has all kind of crazy IPs. People love their video games. People love their whole genre, their art style and everything. But Final Fantasy, man, has been big for so many past couple of decades. There's a lot of nostalgia for the old original original Final Fantasy games that were on like the NES, and I think it went to the Super NES, and I want to say the first or second one. I forget how they were released, but eventually it went to Final Fantasy 7 on the PlayStation 1. I think that was the second time it went to the PlayStation, and the first one was Final Fantasy. I don't know, but Final Fantasy 7 was the first 3D Final Fantasy on PlayStation, and I'm pretty sure you don't need me to tell you how popular that game was and how big it was, how much of a cultural impact it made. So it definitely affected me big time as a kid. So, excuse me, I have a cold, guys. Sorry. But the reason why I'm talking about this is because I really think people are underestimating how big this is going to be. Like, because you have to realize that when it comes to the crossovers, you got to think, okay, like you're taking all the people who love Magic or essentially are interested in Magic. And then you got to take another IP like Godzilla and think, okay, well, how many Godzilla fans are there that also like Magic? And I guess technically like vice versa. If you want to bring people into Magic, well, how many Godzilla fans think, okay, I'll probably get into a card game. You can play that any one of the other crossovers. And I guess when it comes to something like Final Fantasy, I think like I would assume percentage-wise that a huge amount of the Magic the Gathering community, or I shouldn't say huge, that sounds like I'm saying majority, but a very good amount of the Magic the Gathering community probably do love Final Fantasy. I'm sure they loved a couple of the other IPs, but Final Fantasy is big. It's one of those like huge, like nerdy video game things, and I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. I'm just trying to be very realistic that Final Fantasy is beloved by so many people in that like the, you want to call it like the nerd area, like the nerd. I can't stop saying nerd. Just in that realm of people, that group of fans, that community. That's much better. A bit more politically correct, but I don't care. So I have to wonder, like, I was wondering what they're going to look like. Are they going to keep the same art style of Final Fantasy? Are they going to change it up? And sure enough, I think they have guidance. I think I heard they have some of the Square Enix artists coming in to help out with the artwork. And from what we've seen, they have teased or revealed a few of like I guess like the starter deck cards, and among them is Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. Again, the only person I recognize in Final Fantasy. And then not that long ago, they did release like another version of Cloud and Sephiroth. And again, for Final Fantasy fans, that's huge. You have the two main characters. You have the main hero and the main villain. And I imagine they're going to do the same thing for a lot of the other Final Fantasy games. Their main characters, their villains. And I'm sure they're going to do a lot of the more, like, the common things that are used throughout the games. Like, what are the birds called? The chocobos. I'm sure there'll be a chocobo card or cards. There's probably going to be the monsters that you summon throughout the series, like the dragons, like Bahamut and everything. I'm sure there's going to be those in the game in card form. Like the magic, the weapons. It's going to be really interesting seeing what they're going to be doing to incorporate all the Final Fantasy stuff into Magic. I just think people, I think, are going to lose their minds. And I'm not going to talk about it from a competitive scene. Again, that's not something I'm really familiar with, but I'm just thinking from a pure, I guess, a coolness factor. I just think that this Final Fantasy set is going to be huge. It's going to be ticking so many of those nostalgia boxes. And I guess if you actually were to play the game and with Final Fantasy characters, that's just going to be fun. It's going to be fun having, well, I'm going to summon Tifa to attack you. Like, that sounds kind of cool. I was reminded of something that came out last year. I think it came out last year. Hearthstone. I dabble in Hearthstone every now and again for fun, but it caught my eye because I wasn't really keeping up with it for the last year or so. That Hearthstone did I guess you can call it a crossover with an IP that's owned by Blizzard, StarCraft. And I love StarCraft. I think StarCraft is one of the coolest games of my childhood. I fell in love with StarCraft, and I don't play anywhere near as much as I want to, but I just love the story, the characters, the gameplay. I love StarCraft. And when I heard that Hearthstone was doing like a little booster set, like it's an electronic card game, but like the next little set in the game was going to have StarCraft cards. They're going to say, yeah, like all the classes you can choose in Hearthstone. Well, these classes are going to have Zerg characters and Zerg cards. These classes are going to have Protoss, and these are going to have Terran. And there's all the mechanics and the artwork and the sound effects. It was tugging at all my nostalgia strings. It was insane. And I really had to hold myself back and say, I really don't want to get back into Hearthstone right now. But even just for fun, I won't spend money on the game, but just to play the game for fun. Excuse me. Sorry, I got cold. But yeah, like that was just an example of all you have to do is kind of throw in some of these like little cool like spin-off things where you say, but it's a spin-off taking some really cool IPs that people like and bringing it into a different IP, a different game, and just seeing how it brings people together. I'm pretty sure there were a few people who were kind of divided among Hearthstone and StarCraft, despite them being all owned by Blizzard. But when this happened, I'm pretty sure people think, hey, like I'll give it a shot, and they probably loved it. So that was just like an example of this. But yeah, like I just think that this crossover thing, it's like this Final Fantasy Universes Beyond. I don't know, especially given the fact that it's being released right now during one of the crazier card market. I'll use the word boom. One of the booms that we're having right now, the bear market, not bear, the bull market. Got confused there, where the average card or set or whatever, doesn't matter if it's Pokemon or Magic, they all tend to be going up. Pokemon's in like a whole different league of their own right now. They're doing like, those cards and sets are all going up. And my understanding is that while Vintage Magic is not doing that great, Modern Magic is doing just fine. So a set like this, where all the previous, like the collector boxes that come out, are always going to be hard to get, super expensive, probably scalped. Like people are going to be doing any method they can to get as many collector boxes as possible for all these Universes Beyond sets, whether they get bots set up and they do the pre-orders and they do whatever they can. And I just think when it comes to the Final Fantasy set, it's going to be at an all-time high when it comes to people trying to get as many of these as possible. And these are, and it's interesting because these are not the kind that you can like go to Target or Walmart, or I think you can. I think they do sell them in like smaller versions, smaller packs, maybe like even like little booster bundles. But the collectors, the collector packs that are sold in collector boxes, I'm pretty sure those are only sold at like your local card shop, or if you order it online from an online card store. So we're not going to have like a Prismatic Evolution set or a Prismatic Evolution scenario where people are going to be lining up at Walmart or Target to try to buy as much of this Final Fantasy set at MSRP. It's going to be mainly maybe them doing that at their local game store if they can pre-order them, or if the store's not doing pre-orders, they're just saying, look, we have like a case of this and first come first serve. I mean, it's going to be. I think this is going to be one of the most insane things Magic has ever produced, and probably one of the most successful products that Magic has ever produced. There's probably plenty of people out there who think I'm crazy or I'm wrong, and know the other sets this set's just not going to, it's all going to fall apart because they think that the bull market's over. And that's going to be another topic of mine that I want to talk about in a different video, about the current situation with this bull market for collectibles and cards. Because a lot of people think it's about to just to crash and burn out. I don't think so. At least not anytime soon. Not anytime within this year. And yeah, this Final Fantasy set is releasing at a pretty insane time right now. It's probably going to be scalped terribly, scalped to no end. It's going to be super expensive trying to get certain chase cards. I don't know if they are doing this with the serialized cards again, but so you guys can let me know down below in the comments, like, are they doing serialized cards again? Because that's going to just create more trophy cards. Or a lottery card. Yeah, not trophy cards. That's like for a tournament. A lottery card. It's going to create insanely high value lottery cards that people are going to want to. They're going to try to rip open packs and get them. And a lot of that plays into, especially now with things like Whatnot. Like Whatnot, the app where people can buy things on that little, like, it's like YouTube, but for buying things. It's like, that's going to make it even more insane. Again, I'll talk more about that in my next video. But mainly, I just wanted to talk about how cool I think this new Final Fantasy set is, and how much it's going to impact the collectible card market, because, man, people are going to be lining up for this. People are going to be calling and making pre-orders and then canceling pre-orders because, like, once a set drops, and everyone's going to buy it up again when it drops by like $20 a box, if they, God forbid, that this set dips by 30%, I think people are then going to swoop in and just buy everything out, and then it's going to be, those things are going to be like, 50 to 75% higher than their original price within a few like months. Just watch. But yeah, that's all I wanted to really talk about. Just to kind of explain, like, again, if I'm going to talk about Magic, I'll talk about something that I find interesting. And this Final Fantasy set looks pretty crazy. I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to really just bring people. I think it's going to bring people together. It's going to cause people to fight because people are going to want these cards. They're going to want these sealed boxes. It's going to be interesting. So for all those of you who love Magic and everything, you guys are in for a hell of a ride. So best of luck if you are trying to get these packs or get these boxes, get these cards. I guess getting the cards isn't not that big of a deal. It's the collector version, the collector boxes, and those cards are going to be the real tough ones. But yeah, I guess with all that said, I think that's it for now. So stay tuned for my next video about the current state of the card market. Until then, take it easy.